really a hiatus, but last week we didn't distribute food. So we're back. I'm going to do our little fancy bell thing. Let me get my hand right. Fancy. Well, tonight we have a guest cooking with us today. This is Ashley, and she's going to make delicious pancakes, and it's going to be so fun. So thank you for tuning in. Ashley, do you need anything?
I don't think so. Okay. I think I'm good.
Perfect.
Okay, so tonight we are going to be making gluten-free, vegan pumpkin spice latte pancakes. It's a recipe I haven't tried before, so I thought we'd give it a shot and go for it. So the first thing that we're going to do is I am not using eggs since it's vegan. I am going to be using bananas in place of the eggs. And so this recipe calls for 2 bananas, or 2 eggs, so I'm going to double it. So I am going to use 2 bananas, because the fun thing about pumpkin as well as with bananas is that they actually have similar properties, and they work just as well as having eggs. So we're going to take these here, and then we are going to mash them. Maybe. We'll see if we can mash them. All right. So mash the bananas. All right. So now that those are all mashed and put in there, we're going to scrape it off. Okay. So now we also are going to, since they are latte pancakes, we're going to be adding espresso powder. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of espresso powder. And then I'm also going to be adding a full can of pumpkin. All right. Let's get a spoon so we can get all of that out. And they're not that healthy. I mean, yes, they don't have eggs and some of that other stuff that's in it. However, they do have sugar. And so sugar is always good and makes everything better. All right, so now I've got my pumpkin, my bananas, my espresso powder. I need to also add in milk. I am dairy free, and so to make these vegan, I'm also going to use a dairy free milk. I use rice milk. This also works well with coconut milk or almond milk. So you're going to add a cup per recipe. So I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. So there's 2 cups, and then I also need to add in 2 cups of sugar. And brown sugar works. When I'm at home, I use coconut sugar. I find that it has a similar a similar taste to brown sugar, but it is a little healthier if anyone wants a healthier sugar that's still super sweet but doesn't taste like you're eating a healthy sugar. We have a lot of food allergies in my family, and so there's a lot of things that I do differently when I cook at home, just because I want to make sure that everybody can eat what I'm making. My niece actually has a dairy and a gluten allergy and a few other things. So she, for the most part, is vegan, other than being able to eat like chicken and beef and things like that. Okay, so now I've added my pumpkin, my banana, milk, brown sugar, espresso powder, and then I also need some pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to add I did not add enough espresso powder, but I need 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie. I only added 2 teaspoons of espresso powder. I need 8. So let's fix that. Lots of caffeine in the morning. There's 4 more, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so now we've gotten up to 8. Okay, and so now what we're gonna do is you need to beat this together until it dissolves. Let's see, have I added my flour yet? Nope, I haven't. Oh, wait. Yep. All right, sorry, I'm reading my directions. Just making sure. Okay. So I beat until everything is dissolved. Specifically, the espresso powder. And the thing with this is you need to mix it a little extra just because the banana will get a little chunky in there. If you could smell this, you could really smell the espresso powder that's within it. All right. And so now I need to add 2 cups per batch of flour. I'm going to add 4 cups of flour. So I use a gluten-free baking mix. I find that it works best as a 1-to-1 ratio. 2, 3, and then 1 more from this one. So there's 4 cups of flour in our mix. So now I'm going to mix it up even more. I find that this bowl is kind of fun to use. It's a pumpkin themed, so it's kind of perfect for pumpkin spice pancakes. All right. Okay, so there is our batter for our pancakes. So now you can go about this a couple different ways when you're making them. I like to use an electric griddle. I find that it works best just because it's got the even heat and it works a little better, and I've had more luck than using it on the stovetop. I've got this heated, so that way it's now ready to go. One thing that I'm going to try, this is kind of a fun new tool that I got. This is for making pancakes and being able to like write with them. So I'm going to portion some of the pancake mix inside, and we're going to see if this will work. It's a new toy that I got, so we're going to try it. All right. We're going to test it. We're going to see if it'll work. So basically it's like using a pen. It's called a pancake pen. All right. So we're going to try this and see if it's going to work. So just screw the lid on. And then over here on our griddle, we just squeeze our pancake out. All right, so now we're going to get some on here. I do find that sometimes when you're making vegan or gluten-free, the liquid can get a little off. So don't ever be afraid to add liquid. The more things that you can add with fat into gluten-free baking, the better off it's going to be, and it's going to cook a little bit more evenly. I've been cooking gluten-free for the last 10 years, and so I've had a lot of trial and error with getting things to work just right. They may not always look the prettiest in the pan, but they are going to taste. If you could smell this, it is delicious. It smells so good. It smells just like if I was eating pumpkin spice latte or drinking one. So, all right, so let them warm up and cook on there for just a little bit. I'll kind of get the camera and go maybe a little closer to see if you can see it. Get you a little closer view, maybe. All right, so there's kind of the view of the pancakes as they're cooking. Since they are a gluten-free and a vegan, a lot of times you won't get the bubbling effect that you would get with a standard kind of baked good. I'm actually going to add a little bit more milk to the batter. It's a little thick for my liking. I like it to be a little looser. So I just add a little bit more at a time until it gets to about the consistency that I want it to be. Okay, we're gonna, looks like they're cooking up. All right, I smell it, so let's flip these and see if they work. All right, so if you see, you can see the nice browning on these. They look so good. They smelled so fantastic. You could use a different, the question was asked if you can use a different fruit pulp instead of pumpkin. This recipe specifically calls for pumpkin. It was one that I actually got from the Dylan circular that they sent out, and then I tweaked it to kind of fit our dietary needs. But you could use applesauce. It has a very good consistency. I suppose you could just try it and try and do different kind of pulps. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I would just kind of make it based on what you prefer. In our family, we have a hard time with pumpkin or with apples, so we try and stay away from that a little bit. And apple also works as a really good replacement for eggs as well. All right, let's see here. So they're almost ready. They may need, this one here on the end needs a little more flipped. Woo, they're getting a little warm. Turn the griddle up a little too high. Just a little extra flavor. So the eggs, a lot of times, apple works for egg just because it helps add that moisture that you would need, and it can kind of sometimes hold your foods together like an egg can in a binder. It works best typically only in baking, especially in sweet baking. I haven't had much experience using apple just because I know that that's been an issue for my family. But I use banana often, especially if I'm cooking and I have 2 small boys at home, and so we always seem to have apples on hand. But if I want to make pancakes or something and we don't have any eggs to make at home, I'll just grab a banana and mash it up and put it in there. I always have frozen bananas in our freezer just because having extra fruit in the house is always helpful. But with the apples, you have to get apple sauce specifically. All right. And one batch of this makes about 10 pancakes. So what we have here is we should be able to get close to about 20 pancakes from this recipe since I doubled the batch. So we've got some lovely pancakes right now. Nice dollar-sized pancakes. All right. Let's see if I can burn these as mad. They didn't burn, but get them as brown as I did on the previous ones. So I'll switch us over so that way we can kind of get a closer view of the pancakes. Let's see here. All right, so there are the finished pancakes. You can see the nice batter. It looks delicious. It smells fantastic in here. So. All right, let's go ahead and see about flipping these. Oh, nope, they're not ready. All right, almost ready. So these would be perfect at any sort of like fun brunch. It does recommend on the recipe card that I got to serve with hot butter and syrup. You can also serve it with honey. Any sort of just like fun topping. I would think that these would serve really well with some peanut butter. But that's just my preference. I don't typically like to put syrup on my pancakes. I like to put other fun things on it. All right. These are starting to stick a little bit. That's okay. There we go. So I see on the chat that it was asked how everyone's week went. My week went pretty well. I'm a school teacher. I teach 6th grade, so it's been fun. It's been crazy. We have parent-teacher conferences coming up, so it's always a fun time in 6th grade. All right. You can see that there's some nice bubbling action going on with these. You will notice with the gluten-free that they don't bubble like what you would typically see with pancakes. They're just a little denser, and the flour and the gluten acts a little differently. All right, almost ready. Any other questions about pancakes, gluten-free cooking, anything like that? Like I said, I've been doing this for a while. I used to bring Christian some baked goods here at ECM. go ahead and flip these. Oh yeah, these ones turned out way better than the last batch. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more, another one in here. And sometimes as you let the batter set, it does get a little thicker. That's normal. Just either mix it more or add in a little bit more liquid to it. There we go. They're looking great. Oh yeah, these are looking like fantastic pancakes. So then we'll just stack these up, add them back to our stack. Oh. The edges are still maybe a little raw. And with these pancakes, once you are done with them, I mean, obviously eat them right away, but if you have leftovers, you can refrigerate them. What I have done with pancakes in the past is I used to have a 40-minute drive to work every day. Now it's only about 10. But I used to make pancakes and then freeze them and then microwave them. It was a quick and easy breakfast for my kids to eat in the car as we were on our way to school. And it was kind of like an Eggo waffle without all the extra stuff in an Eggo waffle. So how has it been regarding COVID? Our school is actually 5 days a week, and we've been very fortunate to avoid kind of what some other larger districts have had to deal with in regards to COVID. I feel very fortunate to be where I'm at, teaching through all of this. It's definitely a learning curve, that's for sure. So my favorite thing to bake is probably going to be pie or cake. I bake cakes for all sorts of occasions, especially in the fall. I bake pies. My mother-in-law will not let me attend any family events if I show up with any less than 3 pies. Typically one has to be a chocolate cream and another has to be pecan, and then I can make the third one however I want. I just love to bake in general. It's kind of my go-to relief. Kind of if I want to de-stress, I can bake. I've been very fortunate to have a family who loves to eat whatever I bake, so I'm not the only one eating it. That's also one of the perks of being in school is there's always food in the teacher's lounge, and so you can take food and have other people eat it. I have not actually tried to make apple pie. Since we have some issues with apples, I do peach pie more often. That's actually my dad's favorite is peach. That's like one of the only pies that he'll actually eat. He's not a sweets person by any means. Pumpkin is another good one. And I've been able to figure out how to make the pumpkin pie without evaporated without evaporated milk, which has been helpful, especially with my dairy intolerance. I've been practicing and finding different ways so that way I can still have the fun stuff that everyone else is able to eat. All right. One of my favorite recipes though also is it's a cookie recipe, and there's absolutely no grains in it whatsoever. We use sun nut butter, since my husband and I both have issues with peanuts, not regular nuts, but peanuts. It's just sun nut butter, sugar, egg, and then often I'll add some chocolate or chocolate chips to it. They last maybe a day in my house. They're typically gone within 24 to 48 hours. The peach pie is really good because you can also use canned peaches or frozen peaches. I like the frozen just because they have a little bit more texture to them than the canned peaches. Alright, we are almost out of batter. May have to make these at home. There's a cinnamon allergy in my family, so I can't use pumpkin pie spice. So what I'll use is, so I'll just use like cloves and allspice and mix it together to kind of make a spice. So I may have to try making these at home. With the peaches, what I do is I just put them in a strainer and just run run water over it until it dries off. And then when you mix it with the sugar and the flour to put into the pie, it kind of makes a nice like syrup to go in with it too. All right. And my boys, and what I like about peaches is I can give my boys a butter knife and they can cut them for me, so that way I could be making the crust while they are engaged in the cooking by cutting peaches. All right, they're almost ready. Let's see, how many have we, I'm gonna have to count to see how many we've gotten so far. Hopefully I'm not making these too big. I'm measuring them off with a 1/4 cup, but you know, sometimes you can get a little heavy with your measurements, and that's okay. All right. So I'm going to scoot these around a little bit, add a few more on here. All right. There we go. It smells like I'm baking peach pie in here. It is fantastic. Or not peach pie. It smells like I'm baking pumpkin pie in here. All right. Woo. All right, we got a giant stack of pancakes going on. This is looking great. Let's see here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we got a hidden one. 11 pancakes so far, and we've got 4 more in the skillet. So I would say that this recipe would definitely make 10, maybe 10 to 12 1/4 cup pancakes. I like to keep my pancakes small just because then I feel like I can eat more of them, but not feel as guilty to eat more of them because they are smaller. And since it has banana and pumpkin in it, it's healthy, so you can eat as much as you want, right? All right. Okay. All right. And then, see, this is one of the reasons why I like to make pancakes on the griddle, is that there's extra space that you can move around the pancakes to kind of get in and scrape them up without like completely destroying them. And then you can always make more. And it's evenly distributed on the skillet, or the heat is more evenly distributed. All right, see, those are looking so good. I might need a bigger plate for all of these delicious pancakes. I actually made my 5-year-old a pumpkin spice birthday cake this past October. His birthday is almost on October, and so it always seems fitting to add pumpkin to his birthday cake, and it was probably one of my favorite cake recipes that I've made. I actually didn't put any spray on this. I just prefer not to. Typically, yeah, coconut oil does work really well. The only problem with coconut oil is that it does have a very low burn temp. So if you get it too hot, it will burn quickly. What I have used, and it's because I like to use it because it has a high fat content, is avocado oil. I get avocado oil from Aldi. It's actually a little bit more expensive than like olive oil or something like that, but I feel that its burn point is a lot lower, and there's less risk of burning it and getting that burnt oil smell into everything. When I'm at home, I am able to have butter, and so I will use butter in almost everything, especially with gluten-free, because if you have that fat, that rich fat in it, things tend to stick together a little better. I think that's some of the problems that some people have when they cook gluten-free, is that they leave out all of the fat and all of the extra yumminess, and then it just falls apart. So gluten-free screams for moisture and for fat. But I had to learn that over the past decade of cooking gluten-free. All right. Okay. We can maybe get one or two. Oh, there goes our pancakes. Look at that. See, they're so good, they're falling over. We can maybe get one or two more out of this bowl. And then we can kind of look and see how many we have. Saved the sack. It did not fall. It is safe. It's edible. We're good. We're good. I've also made pancakes. Instead of using pumpkin, you can use like peanut butter or sun nut butter, and it makes them fantastic, especially if you get the chunky butter mixes. Just adds a little extra crunch. I think this would also be really good if we had like some chocolate chips to throw in the mix. Pumpkin and chocolate is always good, and then you add the coffee with it and just everything else, and it's just going to be delicious. All right. There's another one, so let's see how many more we can get out of here. All right. We got one more. We can get it out. All right. We can put a little one right there in the middle. Oh yeah, those are going to be fantastic. These do freeze and reheat well. When I make frozen pancakes, what I'll do is I'll reheat them in either a toaster oven, or you can just microwave them. Just make sure that when you do freeze them, to make sure that you get all of the moisture out, because the extra moisture will cause them to get a little soggy. Oh no, I combined pancakes. I'm combining all sorts of pancakes now. Those got a little done, but that's okay. They'll still taste good. Little brown doesn't hurt. You could also even, like, if you really like chocolate, put some chocolate syrup on this or some powdered sugar when you go to eat it. That sounds really yummy. But I also love chocolate and everything chocolate. I also feel like if I ate too many of these, I would probably be bouncing off the walls excited and not sleep tonight if I eat too many of them. All right. Whew. All right, we're about ready to flip our last couple of pancakes. All right, come on. There we go. And I don't mind pushing these pancakes down. I think it also helps it cook. Oh no. No. They're attacking each other. All right. Hold on, let me clean this off for a second. I think that's part of my problem. All right. There we go. That's a little better. Use my, clean them off a little bit so that way they don't stick as much. Different method here. We're going to switch it up a little bit. There we go. That's looking a little better. See if I can get this in here. Go. There we go. Those are looking fantastic. All right. So this recipe is really simple. It basically takes 2 eggs, which in this case I used 1 banana for every 2 eggs. It uses a cup of pumpkin puree, a cup of milk, a quarter cup of brown sugar. I used 2 cups of brown sugar because I wanted mine extra sweet. See, you got to read your directions. It'll be fine. It's fine. You don't need any syrup if you add extra sugar. 2 teaspoons of instant espresso powder, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and then 2 cups of buttermilk baking mix. I use just a regular gluten-free baking mix with this. And then it does say to use butter or oil for greasing the skillet. Most of the time when I use a skillet, I don't grease or butter it at all. But I also am used to using a skillet. So it just depends on your comfort level and what you prefer to do when you're making pancakes. So I suppose once these are done, that's it for the pancakes. Anyone else have any other questions, comments, anything like that? Anything I can answer for you? Hello.
Are you finished?
I think so.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. They're looking good.
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah, it does.
It smells so good. I'm so excited about these pancakes. Thank you for cooking tonight. We really appreciate it. I accidentally left the little bell out there, so we're just gonna
Pretend.
take a symbolic moment and like a wow. And that's it. Thank you for watching.